What is going on, creeps? Talk back at ya for another lovely episode of the lovely podcast. It's the first episode I'm actually recording during spring because... Spring, what the fuck am I talking about? First episode I'm recording in fall. Since, like I said, I was very impatient and did my Panos episode a little bit back. So, like I said, it's the first time I'm recording during what I'm assuming is your favorite time of the year, fall. It's going to be a good season this year, creeps. First time in almost 10 years we're getting a new Halloween release. It's been a pretty fun week. I got a chance to go to the movies. I checked out The House with the Clocks on the Walls. That was pretty fun. Although I was a little upset because I think it must have been on Instagram that somebody posted something about about how the house that Jack built dominated the box office this weekend, and I was very confused and for a minute very excited because I want to see that movie so fucking bad, despite how much I really don't care for Lars von Trier. The house that Jack built seems like it's going to be a very intense, engaging film, regardless of, I don't know, I have a tendency to go towards movies that make me extremely uncomfortable, just trying to always reignite that spark that I felt as a young child watching a plethora of things. You know, when I was younger, it was things like, I remember the original Frankenstein scared the shit out of me when I was really little. Of course, Christopher Lee's Dracula scared the fuck out of me as a kid. But then once I started getting older, it was stuff like Deliverance and that pawn shop scene in Pulp Fiction. I saw those when I was around maybe, like somewhere around 11 to 12, and they fucked me up bad. Yeah, those movies freaked me the fuck out when I was a budding young man, figuring things out about sexuality, and seeing such things like that really off-put me. I was very put off for a few weeks after seeing both of those movies. But I feel like The House that Jack Built is going to be, you know, like I said, always chasing that. I mean, I'm not a heroin addict, but always chasing that proverbial dragon. Like I said, it's finally fall. I got a blanket wrapped around me like a fucking 90-year-old woman. What was I saying? Yeah, I'm really excited to see House that Jack Built. I mean, even from the fucking trailer, you can tell it's going to be fucking disgusting. The one thing in it that stuck out to me the most, other than David Bowie's fame being the driving force behind the trailer, is that fucking image of the body being dragged like fucking Achilles through Troy in the Iliad. Or the movie Troy, if that's what you know the story best from. Just the body that's chained to the back of that van just scraping along the fucking... I don't know, I feel like that movie's definitely going to have something in it that's going to freak me the fuck out. What is it? I read that there's some little... I think it's it's fake. It's not a real animal. I think they said it's like a gerbil or something that he kills in the movie, and people are all up in arms about that. But I can almost promise that is not going to be the most fucked up thing to happen in that movie. Speaking of intense things, I actually binge-watched a whole season of something over a 2-day span, and for the first time in... I can't even remember how long. I completely forgot that I even saw the trailer for that Maniac show. Reigniting that little chemistry between Jonah Hill and Emma Stone that was fucking 10 years ago now and super bad. Ugh, man, I'm fucking old. But man, it was nice to see them together again. And great to see Cary Fukunaga working on a limited series again. It did feel like True Detective in the sense that they're able to fucking span pretty much like every genre. And like, I mean, that's one you gotta really check out for yourself. It is a fucking trip. And I mean, I don't know, I really haven't had a chance to talk to anybody else about that show. But I know for a fact that I was fucking hooked right from that first episode. But let's go back a little bit onto, what was I talking about earlier? Oh yeah, The House with the Clocks on the Walls. I got to see that, and I rather enjoyed it. It's nice to see that Eli Roth is kind of going in that direction of, like, what Robert Rodriguez did after his mariachi movies. I mean, I think Desperado was on TNT, like, every fucking night when I was, like, 10 years old. So, I knew Robert Rodriguez from a really young age, but, those movies weren't really that commercially successful, so he kind of leapt into children's movies doing the Spy Kids franchise, and thinking back on it, that's definitely what put Robert Rodriguez on the fucking map. And seems like maybe Eli Roth is making a similar bound after being pretty universally panned after that Death Wish remake that we did not need whatsoever earlier this year in the fucking climate that we're in. I don't know. I have no idea what the fuck he was thinking with that. But he did it, and he did this, and it kind of balanced it out because it was really refreshing and nice. But it's like the same thing I was saying about the Spy Kids movies. I mean, those movies weren't fucking, I don't know, they weren't by any stretch like the best fucking movies ever. But I don't know. I think I'll always have an affinity for children's entertainment and cartoons in general. Just like I said, I love dumb shit. I've said this over and over again so many times. If this is your first time listening, I love dumb shit. I mean, not overly dumb shit, like imaginatively dumb shit, and that's what this had in spades. I like this a lot more than I liked Jack Black in the Goosebumps movie. I don't know how that new one's gonna be, to be quite blunt and frank with you. But Jack Black's not gonna be in that. And honestly, I think a big part of what I didn't really care for in the Goosebumps movie was Jack Black doing the voice for Slappy. It was really a little bit disconcerting to me. I just didn't care for it. But anywho, House with the Clocks on the Wall was very fun. Jack Black was great, and I do think he's a great actor, but he just needs the right vehicle to move him along in, and Cate Blanchett is always lovely and amazing. The kid was really good, and I loved that he got Kyle MacLachlan, Dale Cooper, Mr. C himself, to play the villain in this movie. Now, I did not see this one with my little cousins or anything like that. I just saw this one on my own, and like I said, I found myself greatly enjoying it. It was it's just refreshing to see every once in a while that there's a movie that doesn't have to hinge so much on not childish humor, because it is childish humor, but just like the lowest common denominator, like fucking fart jokes and like teen crush tropes. Like I don't know. It's just like fucking move on. And they did that pretty nicely in this one. It didn't really, like Spy Kids, it didn't really fall too hard into the tropes of stuff that's just like being rammed down our throat that actually sucks and isn't fun. Yo, yiggity yo. That being said, the Spy Kids movies were very far away from being fucking perfect, but a fun little diversion of your attention none the least. Also really similar to that in the sense that it has such a stellar cast, other than, the kid in this isn't as good as the Spy Kids, but he's a kid. I'm not gonna sit here saying how bad a fucking little boy was at acting. But, 'cause I used to be that little boy! No, I didn't, though, because that kid probably has more money than I'm ever gonna make in my fucking life right now. But, like, fucking, I don't know. A lot of people don't like Kyle MacLachlan as the villain. To them, I say, check out season 3 of fucking Twin Peaks and tell me he can't play a bad guy. I mean, like I said, it was, like I was saying, it's an amazing cast, but they don't really, it's just like Spy Kids in that sense. There's an amazing cast in that. Fucking Antonio Banderas was the dad. Who was that? Really lovely woman who played the mother. I can't remember her name, but she's pretty big. Uncle Machete, Danny Trejo, who I always wondered if that's the same exact Machete from Machete and Machete Kills. Yeah, George Clooney plays the fucking president in Spy Kids. Like, it's like the same thing with this one. Beautiful aesthetics. I mean, not a brilliant script, but I mean, I haven't read the book, but assuming that they went by the book decently, at least like cliff notes like the Harry Potter movies were, well, maybe I should go and check the book out. But I got along with the movie just fine. It was very, nice distraction from a gloomy fall afternoon. And it's a perfect fall movie. I mean, fucking just like the whole aesthetic of the movie is just like a Halloween based like series of unfortunate events, I guess is the best way to put the aesthetic for it. But I mean, it's just, yeah, like I just can't say it enough. It's a fun movie. You should definitely check it out. Like if you liked Goosebumps, you should definitely check this out. And I actually just looked this up, and Jack Black is going to be back as R.L. Stine in the new one. I was wrong, but I was kind of right because he's not going to be voicing Slappy this time. But yeah, I thought this one was a lot more fun than those ones in the sense, like I said, it doesn't really fall into those tropes of, I don't know, just fucking YA fucking movies and literature. I don't know, like, the whole thing's always based around a fucking crush, and, like, I don't know. I think Stephen King put it the best when he said that, Harry Potter's about, I'm fucking butchering this, but he said Harry Potter's about fucking facing your fears with your friends and never turning away from adversity. Well, Twilight and all those books are about how important it is to have a fucking boyfriend when you're in high school. I don't know, it's just refreshing to see something that's at least a little bit different. I don't know. Maybe you should go and check for yourself. Maybe, I mean, if it's not your bag, baby, then it's not your bag, but I thought it was pretty fun. Alright, let's, maybe we'll talk about this a little bit later on, but let's, move on into what I was talking about earlier, too, and Maniac, the best fucking show that I have seen so far this year. Obviously, discluding the Venture Brothers, because, I mean, I'm talking about stuff that I went into not knowing it was going to be good. Because, to be quite frank with you, I still haven't finished Iron Fist, although I did decently like it so far. I was not able to finish Jessica Jones. I didn't like that very much at all. Couldn't really get through Luke Cage. Couldn't finish Westworld. It's been a rough year for me as far as TV is concerned, and it was very refreshing that I literally could not stop fucking watching Maniac. Cary Fukunaga, he's up there as one of the best fucking directors out today, and they really fucked up not letting him do the It movie. No matter how lucrative the final project ended up being, like, Andy Muschietti made a very good movie, if that's how you pronounce his name. And he cast Bill Hader as Richie Tozier, and that's what I said from the minute I fucking walked out of the first movie, as I said, Bill Hader's gonna play him in the future. And he does. So, I mean, I guess we kind of got brainwaves there, but I think Cary Fukunaga would have made such a scary movie out of it. I mean, I've looked at some of the stuff about his original script for it, and it's just like, you're gonna have to check it out. Just Google it for yourself, because it's like a checklist of everything that a studio would want cut from a movie. Like, I think there's like a scene where Henry Bowers was fucking a sheep, and I think that they did that, like the little homosexual thing between him and his friends where they would like jerk each other off and suck each other off. And obviously the studio wanted no part of that. But I'm glad he found some work where he had some free range again. Especially in a long-running format like he did in the first season of True Detective. It's just so refreshing to see something that's just an open and closed story. Like, I loved the first season of Westworld, but once I found out there was going to be a second season, and I could start telling with that, like, the robot prostitute, that they were just having her in so many scenes so that they could have an excuse for a second season, it just turned me off so hard. It's just like, begin it and end it. I know a lot of people were upset that we didn't get Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson back for the second season of True Detective, but I mean, their story was so open and shut and so good. And so is this first season of Maniac. It's just like, the end is literally such a solid ending that I fucking wept like a fucking child. And my girlfriend looked at me like I was the biggest sissy in the fucking world. Because like, it's not like a sad scene, but it's just like everything coming together, all together. And it's just such a beautiful ending. And everything throughout, I'm not going to really give any specific details because the show itself is honestly pretty sparse on details. The storytelling is very visually oriented. And there's really, you're kind of left to guess a lot of the specifics and stuff like that. You're more shown, they show you things, they don't tell you things, which is fucking writing 101. And I guess movie making 101. But him and that team that wrote that show, literally, were able to make every feeling feelable felt in my heart. They mashed so many genres together in it. I'm not going to tell you how they did it. It's mainly a sci-fi, like, it's kind of like a modern, like, Ray Bradbury, Philip K. Dick type story. Philip K. Dick would have loved this. He would have absolutely fucking loved this. But, anyway, It's mainly science fiction, but, you know, with a lot of science fiction, there's room to explore other worlds, and they do that in this, like, to a fucking T. It is fucking perfect. Not perfect, but about as damn near perfect as you can get. I'm gonna have to watch it again, but after my first watch, I'm gonna have to say that it's as good as the first season of True Detective. I know those are big words for me to be saying, but that's how I feel at this juncture. I guess I do need to watch it again to really back up that statement, because I have seen the first season of True Detective so many fucking times, and it really is at least top 3 favorite single season of a television show. I think number 1 might have to be season 4 of The Simpsons. But this one, honestly, like, after the first viewing, I have to say it's right up there in a single season of a television show for an open and shut story. It's just like a long movie. And, like, I think that they're really missing that a lot on Netflix, because I've heard that they fucking, like, force people to make overarching stories that, like, don't end. And HBO does that too. I know, like I was saying about Westworld. It's just like, I understand that there's a fan base and, like, a fandom brewing, but at the same time, like, I like endings. You know? Like, it's not like, ooh, I can't handle that cliffhanger. Like, if you do a cliffhanger right, I'm all about it. I'm all about waiting for there to be an amazing resolution to it, but you don't need it a majority of the time, if you ask me. And this is one of those situations where I think you can see that flawlessly. It's like it's not 10 hours long, because there's 10 episodes and they're all very different as far as the runtime goes. And I like that a lot, because I think, honestly, an episode should be as long as an installment of the story should be. It's like a chapter in a book. They don't all have to be the same amount of pages. It was just, like, so refreshing from fucking all aspects. The acting was fucking phenomenal. I'm not even gonna say who the cameos were, because they're, like, some of the cameos were so amazing. I'm only gonna say Emma Stone and Jonah Hill, because you know them, because they're in all the fucking promotional material that they put out for it. But you need to check this out if you're into fucking anything. If you're into listening to me talk, you need to at least give the first episode a go. If you have no interest after the first episode, I think you're gonna have no interest, because it's definitely not for everybody, because it is so fucking out there. But if you can click with it, and if it syncs with you, like it's synced with me, then you are going to you're in for a fucking ride. That's all I have to say. And with that being said, honestly, I completely fucking forgot, because it was, maybe a day before I watched this. I didn't even think about this until right now, but Cary Fukunaga is making the new fucking James Bond movie. They finally fucking decided on a new director, and it's him. Holy shit. Well, that's going to be fucking awesome. I can't wait until that comes out not after seeing this. I mean, I knew he was obviously going to kill it after True Detective Season 1, but especially after seeing this, he can do fucking anything. And there was some stuff in there that was kind of, Bondian. Felt very James Bond-esque from Maniac, and I won't tell you how. Like I said, you got to see this one for yourself to see how they sprawl out across, like, every single fucking genre you could possibly imagine. Oh, man, that is going to be fucking sick. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of the last Bond movie, Spectre. Wasn't a huge fan of Quantum of Solace either. But Daniel Craig's a pretty good James Bond, and now everybody's got their panties out of a wad, because he's officially been announced for Bond 25 too, so you don't have to worry. Idris Elba won't be playing him. Man, how stupid was that? That lady. If you didn't see it, Google that lady who fucking made literally like a 5-minute long video on why a black guy can't be James Bond. And it's just like, what is this, 1945? I don't know. Well, Daniel Craig's going to be back anyway as James Bond, and I am pretty excited about that, because like I said, I do like him as James Bond, but there were 2 of them I didn't particularly care about. But it seems like he's doing a good one, a so-so one, a good one, a so-so one. So now that Spectre was a so-so one, this one will have to be a good one. Alright, well, what else did I see this week? I got a chance to check out Tales from the Hood 2, which actually just came out on VOD today. I mean, obviously nothing to fucking write home about, but if you like the first one, then I don't see how you wouldn't like the newest installment, other than Clarence Williams being replaced by Keith David, which, if anything, is maybe a step up as the storyteller. Keith David is honestly one of my fucking favorites. I think it might just be his voice. I used to love gargoyles when I was younger, and he's obviously Goliath, but through my life, it's followed me. Fucking, where'd you get the Frank of the Beans? From fucking... There's something about Mary. Probably the only funny part in that movie to me, but it is so fucking funny. And I don't know why, but it just is. I don't think it's supposed to be the same character, because they do have the same last name. Because I'm kind of nitpicky when it comes to recasting. I kind of hate when characters get recast, and they did a pretty interesting move in this one, like they did in Twin Peaks with Sheriff Truman. They just had another Mr. Sims in this one. Keith David's character is Portafoy Sims, where Clarence Williams was just Mr. Sims. So I guess, who knows? Maybe they do have the same name. Maybe it is the recasting of the same character. It's been a minute since I saw the original one, but I obviously remember the impression that it left on me, and this one left a very similar one. I mean, it's one of those things that a lot of people are definitely going to have a tough time swallowing on both sides of the spectrum, because I know we are a very culturally divided right now, and this kind of plays against the sensibilities of pretty much anyone, which I honestly kind of love, because I feel like a lot of people are getting their license to free speech stamped upon, and I feel like a lot of stuff that we're getting is kind of just fucking gruel, because everything is being censored so heavily, whether it's an actual censorship from the FCC or, you know, something that you can't do that. I don't know. Well, this movie took that idea and threw it to the wind just like the original one did, but we're in like one of the fucking stories is literally like a Black Lives Matter story, and it's about what the fuck are they called? Those fucking mammy dolls. What else? Golly G dolls. They're like possessed Golly G dolls. And they say that the story is fucking based around Black Lives Matter in the beginning of it. Like, oh man, this one is a fucking doozy. And I mean, if you are a person who can get offended very easily, I mean, I can understand it, like I said, in the climate that we're in. But I personally think that we all kind of just need to sit back and have a laugh and chill a little bit. And this movie delivered that in spades. Like I said, I mean, the description of that Black Lives Matter story is I think that's a pretty good describer of how ignorant this movie gets, but it's fucking fun. Keith David's great. The wraparound story is fucking ridiculous that he's feeding these stories into a fucking into like some AI database that's gonna like comprise the fucking police squadron of the future. So he's telling them these stories so that they'll understand who is bad and who is good. I don't know, like, if I've said so many times on here, I love dumb stuff, and I mean, well, if it's not up your alley, it's not up your alley, but this is something that really, truly, I've said it a million times, it needs to be seen to be fucking believed, because it is so goddamn out there. Like I said, the same guy that made the original worked on this one. He did some episodes of The Chappelle Show way back when, in between both of these movies, actually. And it, like I said, it has like the exact same vibe. We just live in a very different era right now, and it's gonna push some people's fucking buttons, and it's gonna pull some people's triggers. I'll tell you that, to say the very least. Thinking back on it, I think when it premiered back in July, I do remember hearing about a decent amount of people walking out of this one. And I can definitely see why now, but I definitely would not have walked out. And like I said, I can't recommend this enough if you're looking for something that's just unabashed fun. Like, it doesn't fucking care. Because we're sorely lacking that kind of entertainment right now. You know, I know a lot of people probably don't agree, but I know a lot of people have to agree that stuff like this is comforting when people just throw caution to the wind. And, I mean, it's not like anything hateful is being said. I don't know. Everyone has their own fucking personal taste, their own personal opinion, and it's a very big deal now, and I understand that. So I'm not going to push this one on anyone, but if you are in any way interested in this, especially after what I've just said, then you need to fucking give this one a look. Alright, let's think. Let's go back to what I was saying earlier about the clocks in the walls. The clock in the walls, whatever. Not the house that Jack built, as somebody fucking falsely billed it to me on the internet. Like I said, there really is definitely a place, I think, for Eli Roth. And I mean, if not these actual kid movies, I think that he has a good chance of maybe making a cool DC movie. Maybe I don't know. Just like one of those franchises that they're rebooting. Honestly, like I think that those kind of moves would be a way better way for him to go than that Death Wish path that he was seemingly thumping down and thankfully is not on anymore, I hope. But he did do a fantastic job in this one of making giving that vibe of kind of just like old school throwback horror of like what actually scared the shit out of you as a kid. Like, I'm sure this one's definitely scaring the Christ out of plenty of younger audiences. Like I said, I went by myself, so I wouldn't know, but it was a very solid fucking spooky movie. It was just, I don't know, kind of a fun throwback, maybe a little bit like I was talking about a couple weeks ago in the vein of Monster Squad. A little bit. Like I was saying earlier, a series of unfortunate events mixed in with Monster Squad would probably be a more apt way to put it. Yeah, it's got all the fun throwback universal vibes that the Monster Squad had. I mean, it's got all of the fucking spooky shit in there, but I mean, it's kind of, in a fun way, very tropey. Like, it's a perfect Halloween movie, like, perfect to check out right now. I can't think of anything else that would be worth checking out right now. To be honest with you, I skipped Hellfest because, to be honest, that kind of just seemed like it should have been a straight to VOD. Like I was saying, I think I've said this before, I don't even think straight to DVD. I mean, I think straight to DVD definitely still exists, but for a movie like that, like, why even bother? Just put it on VOD. I don't think anybody's gonna... I haven't seen anyone even really say anything about it, so it's not even like people cared enough to say that they fucking hated it. So there's really no drive for me to go and see that one. Sorry, I don't have any loose change, no 2 cents on Hellfest. But if you don't feel the way that I did, then go see it and tell me how fucking wrong or right I was not to see it. By all means. But what you definitely should check out is Tales from the Hood 2, which is a straight-to-VOD movie. And it belongs there. And I think there's just more of a certain charm when a movie... I mean, there's just so much less expectation when you're going into it. You're going into it expecting to have a good time watching a bad movie. I don't want to go spend money on gas, fucking be around a bunch of fucking people. I mean, it is nice to go to the theater every once in a while, but I really don't like being around people sometimes. And I mean, sometimes it's just so much easier, especially when it's a movie like this that, I mean, it's a lot more fun to watch a movie that you're really enjoying around people as opposed to a movie that, I don't know, I feel like bad movies are a real niche. Like, everybody finds their own distinct part of it funny or amusing or whatever, and I think that that's kind of something that it's more of an intimate setting that you'd need for that kind of enjoyment, because you'd either need to point out and speak to someone about what you thought was so fucking funny or amusing, or just sit there silently and think about it and maybe like kind of chuckle and look like a lunatic because no one around you understands why you're laughing, which has happened to me plenty of times at the movies, and it's not very fun. But what else beyond that? Well, we got the new Hellraiser. Yeah, we got the new Hellraiser poster. No, we got the new Hellboy poster yesterday, and that looks like it's going to be pretty fucking badass. David Harbour, god damn it, what's his name? Hoop-de-hoop. On Stranger Things, what the fuck is his character's name? Yeah, no, Hopper. He looks like he's going to be pretty fucking amazing as Hellboy for a character that everyone said no one else could play him. He seems like, he's going to be pretty primed. He seemed pretty primed up and ready to go. I mean, I'm really into fucking Hellboy, too. I mean, Mike Mignola just has this... I mean, if you don't know, he's the writer and just... He did everything for Hellboy. And another little fun fact is, if you're a fan of Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Dracula that Francis Ford Coppola made, he actually did all of the design work for that movie, and there's a fucking comic edition of Bram Stoker's Dracula that he made that's actually really, 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 really fucking good. And I mean, that's like That's what Hellboy is it's fucking Bram Stoker's Dracula. Like, his style of art is so fucking unique, and it seems like the guy who made this one, he made a bunch of really good episodes of, I think he made some good episodes of Daredevil, some good episodes of Game of Thrones. He seems like he's gotten the tone, like, down pretty perfectly. Maybe Mignola came on to help him out, because I'm pretty sure that he came on to give Guillermo del Toro a bunch of tips for at least the first one, because I know the second one was all Guillermo del Toro's own story, which is exciting that we're going to get another Mike Mignola story in this new one. It is a little upsetting that it got pushed back to April. And I don't know why it wanted to do that to compete with fucking the fourth Avengers movie coming out at the beginning of May, but I'm sure it'll do well nonetheless. We need an R-rated fucking Hellboy, and we're getting it, and it seems like everybody's very excited about it, including me. But what else is there? Oh yeah. Fucking Saturday night. Kanye West performance on SNL. I would be fucking remiss if I did not discuss this. Well, if you didn't know, if you live under a fucking rock, Kanye West went on to Saturday Night Live on Saturday Night on Saturday Night, and it was live, and he made an ass of himself. First of all, he fucking performed that new I Love It song with Lil Pump while he was dressed as a bottle of Perrier fizzing water, and Lil Pump was dressed up as some Fiji water, and they danced around to their like ridiculously stupid edited version of that song, I Love It. And then he did some other song, like something about love, only love or something, that was like half of it was just like some speech from some chick, I don't know, it sounded like Oprah, maybe it was Oprah, but he was just standing there like, part of the time with his fist in the air, just looking down at the ground, nodding. And then and fucking Adam Driver, Kylo Ren, was the fucking host of the show, and every time he'd have to say, "Ladies and gentlemen, Kanye West." Like, he just said it like in that mechanical voice and looked like he was chewing on fucking glass. No one was very happy to have him there, and he broke down at the end, and it seems like Saturday Night Live doesn't want this up on the internet. But I was able to find it, and let's take a listen to it.
Actually, blacks weren't always Democrats. You know, it's like the plan they did.
This coming from the guy who said George Bush doesn't care about black people, mind you.
And promote welfare.
Wearing to make America great again.
That's a Democratic plan. Now you got a situation where we need to have a dialogue. We got a diatribe. Because if you want something to change, it's not going to change by saying, fuck that person. Try love. You see, they laughing at me. You heard it, they scream at me. They bully me. They bullied me backstage. They said, don't go out there with that hat on.
This is a diatribe.
They bullied me backstage.
Not dialogue.
They bully me. And then they say, I'm in a sunken place. You want to see the sunken place? Okay. I'm going to listen to y'all now.
No, you're not.
I'm going to put my Superman cape on. You can't tell me what to do. Some days
I won't lie, I do really like this song.
Don't have truth, just naked minds. This ain't what they had in mind, but maybe someday. Follow your heart and stop following your mind.
A little link there.
That's how we're controlled. That's how we're programmed.
Too bad he's so.
If you
well,
want
I mean,
the
I guess.
world to move forward, try love.
Try love.
Thank y'all for giving me this platform. I know some of y'all don't agree, but y'all be going at that man neck to lot, and I don't think it's actually that helpful.
I think that's why this is banned.
I think the universe has balance. 90% of news are liberal.
90% of news are liberal.
90% of TV, LA, New York, writers, rappers, musicians. So it's easy to make it seem like it's so one-sided. And I felt kind of free.
God.
I thought this country said I could be me. I love me too.
Yeah. Stop encouraging it.
Bring the band back.
And nothing hurts anymore. I feel stormed the fuck out after that, and then put up some insane-ass fucking tweet saying that he wanted to get rid of the 13th Amendment, which, if you didn't know, was the one created after the Civil War to prohibit slavery. It seems like he thinks that all people in prison should be slaves. I don't know. I can't claim to understand what he's talking about. I'm just giving commentary on something that is, it seems like they're trying to take this shit. I mean, take it how you want to. I mean, I honestly don't think that should have been fucking taken down off of YouTube, because all you can really see is people recording it on a TV and weird fucking Republican channels posting it on their pages, like where I just found that. But yeah, I think, like I said, I think the reason that Saturday Night Live took that down is because he called them out. Because, I mean, as much of a fucking piece of shit as he is, as much of a Steven from Django Unchained he is, and fucking to his Steven, Donald Trump is Calvin Candy, he wasn't wrong. Saturday Night Live was doing so terribly when the country was doing so well, and Saturday Night Live is fucking profiteering off of awful things happening. And I mean, I don't, like, you're not a bad person if you thought it was really funny, but I just thought that fucking, I thought that Kavanaugh sketch with Matt Damon was in real fucking bad taste, and Kanye wasn't exactly wrong that they're not really helping anything. I mean, they don't even make jokes. They just have people come out and do bad impressions of these fucking people that make jokes of themselves already on TV. And I think that they got pretty embarrassed about that, because, I mean, I don't understand why they wouldn't fucking show that, because it's him having a meltdown on their show. If anything, it's like the best shit that they've had in like years. That's just my 2 cents. I think they took it down because he fucking took a legitimate shot at them. But regardless, he is a weird, weird man, and he is taking a gigantic step backward for who he is as the person who called out George W. Bush for not caring about black people after Katrina. I don't know. It's just a really weird, topsy-turvy world we're living in. Strange things, stranger things even than that, with fucking Drake hitting up Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things, if you didn't hear about that. I guess I'll leave you at that, creeps, because I don't want to leave you on too depressing of a note, and I got a little too real with you there, and I don't want to scare you off. Next week we'll have some much more popcorn or Monster Energy subject matter for you. So next week's episode is going to be on both Venom, and I'll probably end up talking about the McGregor and Khabib fight, and it's going to be called The Great Monster Drought of 18, because I don't think personally that there is going to be a can of Monster Energy to be found for a very long time after this weekend, with both the movie of Venom solo film coming out, and this enormous UFC battle, which honestly I'll be watching both of them, and even if they're bad, I'll probably end up fucking enjoying them. But with both those things together, it's like the perfect storm of, you know, there's probably only going to be Rockstar left if you want an energy drink for the next couple weeks. This weekend, I mean, Monster's going to be the first to go, and then people are going to have to turn to Red Bull, which, you know, they're not going to want that shit. But I'm going to be back next week reporting on the Great Monster Drought of 18, talking about Venom, which apparently, well, there's obviously a review embargo on it right now, but it's not looking too good. Tom Hardy, said that there's 30 to 40 minutes of his favorite scenes that were cut from the movie, and it sounds like he doesn't like anything that he's in the movie. I think that he's probably stretching the truth a little bit with that 30 to 40 minutes, but yeah, that's not a very good sign, and it's already leaked out. Block your ears right now if you don't want to hear a spoiler, but you're going to be very disappointed when you go to see this movie if you're not warned that this is what happens. They released what one of the after credit scenes is going to be, and apparently Woody Harrelson is confirmed to play Carnage, but that's going to be it. An after credit scene that's going to build up for a sequel, and that really definitely could have just been left for a surprise instead of leaving him cast and everyone knowing that he was going to play fucking Carnage. Well, if you're still with me until next week, creeps. If not, you missed a spoiler, and you're going to be very disappointed when you go to see that fucking movie if you're hoping to see Woody Harrelson as Cletus Cassidy, because it is going to be very brief, if that is true. Alright, duck out, creeps. See you next week. Same bad time, same bad place.